Just a good old smash, never meaning no harm. Beats all you'd never saw, been in trouble on social media since before its existence. Straightening facts, smacking down hacks. Someday our viewers might get me, but big tech never will. Making my way the only way I know how. That's just a little bit more than big tech will allow. Just a good old smash, wouldn't change if I could. Fighting the nonsense, it's a neo-renaissance in the hood.
And thanks for tuning in, everybody, to the Daily Space Weather. Figured we'd bring back the Smash of Hazard theme song for once. Haven't played that for a while. Shout out to Mr. Keebler, Henry, and Al, doing a fine job with their ukulele renditions. So we're looking at the sun in multiple wavelengths here. This is 304 and 171 angstroms from the SDO, ionized iron and helium. And we've got an Earth-directed coronal mass ejection. Make sure you watch our next video. We'll show a little bit of a more in-depth breakdown of that. We've got some incredible volcano footage as well. Yet another reason to follow us on Twitter. Let's move on to look at the colorized magnetogram and 171 angstroms. Composite imagery. Sunspots have largely remained stable here over the past 24, and we had a number of solar flares. Again, make sure you watch our next video about space weather regarding that. Here's 304 angstroms alone. This is ionized helium by itself. Possibility of additional coronal mass ejections certainly there. Here's 94 angstroms, and this is one of the best wavelengths with which to view flares. You can see 3 flares happening. There is an M-class and 2 C-class flares in there, or 3 C-class flares. I can't remember. I don't commit anything to memory that I can look up. The radio flux has dropped down to 111 solar flux units. So while we see an uptick in flares, we see a downtick in overall solar activity. Also, we may see a geomagnetic unrest period coming, as we just saw the BZ component of the solar wind, the vertical portion of the magnetic field measurements taken at Lagrange 1, dip into negative territory. So more on that in later videos also. There's the 1-year chart of the radio flux. It's this black line, the most proportional solar activity data set we have to sunspot number, which is this red line. So here's the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard. No forecasts for the strike of that coronal mass ejection that's headed toward the Earth. You can expect about 3 days typically on your average coronal mass ejection. And this one, pretty sure we'll have an earthly strike on this one, as it has got quite a lot of ejecta on the Earth-facing line. Let's take a look at global seismicity. We're seeing a quite significant 7-magnitude earthquake drought here. So you can see all this time since the last 7-magnitude earthquake. That's the 90-day bar graph from volcanodiscovery.com, and we have seen an uptick here, including a 4.2 magnitude quake in New Mexico that just happened a couple hours ago before we recorded the video. Largest quakes of the past 24 were in the mid-5 range magnitude. A couple of 5.5 struck, and we're just going to scroll up the list here. If there's anything you'd like to comment on, let us know in the comments. If there's some kind of earthquake we've missed or that you're particularly interested in. There's one of those 5.5s occurring in the central mid-Atlantic ridge. Some quakes there north of New Zealand, southern Alaska, off the coast of Oregon as well, some quakes happening. So significant uptick in quakes here, although still waiting on the big one. Remember, folks, any earthquake can be a foreshock. South Sandwich Island saw a 5.4. Indonesia saw a 5.5 in the past 24 hours. And wait till you see this volcano footage we've got. It's quite spectacular. Let's blast through it. First, the daily volcano rundown. So if you're wondering which volcanoes are erupting, so am I. That's why I cover them daily. I'm basically doing these videos to share with you, the viewer, what I look at. So flight level 070 from Sakurajima over the Isle of Kyushu, part of Japan. 7,000-foot volcanic ash plume. Tangapanbarahu, located on West Java. Never heard of it, but it's got some kind of an uptick here, some steam-laden plumes coming, so that one now erupting. Also some earthquakes being exhibited from that East Javan volcano. Semeru also erupting, producing a 14,000-foot ash plume as it explodes, a flight level 140 over East Java, Indonesia. So a little uptick there at around Java. Dakono, flight level 070 as Dakono explodes, 7,000-foot ash plume. Mount Yasur on Vanuatu, intermittent emissions, no flight level listed there. Nevado del Ruiz, flight level 230 rather. It's a 7,000 meter or 23,000-foot plume of volcanic ash from Nevado del Ruiz. That's located in Colombia. Sangay and Revenador, the usual suspects in the nation of Ecuador, both exploding. 19,000-foot ash plume over Sangay, 15,000-foot ash plume over Revenador. Sabancaya, intermittent emissions from Sabancaya, that's located in Peru and Nevado State, Chilean. Also exploding, flight level 120. It's a 12,000-foot ash plume. Please don't fly your John Denver-style ultralight aircraft over the caldera. Check out this footage. We shared it on our Twitter feed, twitter.com/smashomash. And I apologize for the small size here. You'll just have to deal with it. That's as large as we can get it because it was taken in. Well, it was shared in this portrait mode. So just give that a minute. We've allowed the audio to play here. And if you're wondering what it's like being way too close to an underwater volcanic eruption, this is what it's like being way too close to one. Oh, it looks pretty calm, right? Now you can see how close that is. That's probably only a few miles away. And if you remember, the ash plume reached 100,000 feet of altitude plus. So obviously this is just the very beginning of the eruption. And it's going to look scarier and scarier. And there's the initial blast wave showing up as the air is a fluid and it all gets pushed around. And speaking of getting pushed around, the camera is about to get pushed around. This looks like an unfortunate situation unfolding. So that's what a full immersion is like, folks. Pyroclastic flow is not something to be involved in. Please don't pole vault the caldera. It could be unhealthful. Do follow us on Twitter if you haven't checked out smashomash.com. I highly recommend checking out smashomash.org presents The Sun Part 3. You can find it right on the homepage. All kinds of other links available there at smashomash.com also. So check it out. Welcome to the Neo Renaissance. Congratulations on realizing the channel exists. Please support the channel via our links. And we need your assistance to get the content onto screens as well. So please press share, like, subscribe, etc. If you haven't checked out our merch, we've seen a shakeup in the best-selling. We've ordered this in order of best-selling. So we've seen a shakeup here. You can find links to that below the video as well. Thanks to all the viewers who've picked up merch and so on. We appreciate your support. And look for 2 more Daily Space Weather videos coming out today. If you haven't checked out our meteorology segment, make sure you check that out as well. Those usually premiere before the Daily Space Weather. So yeah, we'll be back with 2 more videos at youtube.com/smashomash, and I'll have been your host, Dan, a.k.a. Smashomash, signing off from the Smash News Network, least busted name in news.